Season 19 of Overwatch 2 is less than 2 weeks away. What can we expect for this spooky season? Let's have a look. Guess who's back from holiday? It's me. I'm back. You might have noticed that the rate of videos had dropped a little bit in the last 2 weeks. And that was because I was eating souvlaki in my favorite place on this globe. Great. Go check out my personal vlog channel to see some videos on stuff I was up to. And I also made an update video on the future of my content. Go have a look. The link is below. In any case, we're going back to the usual schedule and we're starting out pretty big with all of the content that we can expect for Season 19 of Overwatch 2. Because it might surprise you, the next season is less than 10 days away, as we expect it to start on October 14th. And that is because Season 18 was an extremely short season, which I think is because they're trying to fit in Season 19 and start Season 20 before they go on Christmas holidays at the end of December. Now, what can we expect for this last but one season of 2025? Well, a lot of fun stuff, a lot of new stuff. But let's start out with the more familiar things, like the theming. Long gone are the days that we just had one single theme for a whole season. Actually, in the last season, we had up to 3 or 4 different teams. At this point, we're getting a new team every 2 to 3 weeks. And some of these teams are extremely random, just coming out of nowhere. Others are based on the surveys they keep doing. And then there are the themes that are based on events. Like we had the Summer Games in Season 18. And in Season 19, we're getting my favorite event in Overwatch 2, or in Overwatch in general, Halloween. But I'll come back to the events in a second. We were still talking about themes, and yeah, there will be some spooky themed stuff in the shop. In those surveys I was talking about earlier, they definitely suggested some skins and whatnot that could fit really well in this whole spooky theme. And actually, in the last few weeks, they have been releasing single skins that seem to hint at stuff that might be coming. Like that vampire skin they did for Life Weaver that you could get in the first week of the anniversary event. Missed it, because again, I was out of the country. Now, what I'm personally most curious about is if they're going to tie in the Mythic skin to that spooky theme, because I would actually like that. That would be fun. But I can hear you ask, who is getting those skins? Well, when it comes to the Mythic hero skin, I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's going to be a support hero. Let's go for Baptiste. Why? Well, not for any particular reason. Because they have been all over the place when it comes to these Mythic skins. But the last 2 ones were a tank and a DPS, so it could be a support. Now, the Mythic weapon skin is a different story. Most of the skins have actually been for DPS heroes, with the occasional support twinkle in there. But the tanks have been underrepresented since the initial Mythic weapon skin for Reinhardt. And it kind of makes sense. I mean, most Overwatch tanks don't really have a very expressive weapon to work with. There's some orbs, and there's a javelin and a bit of a gun. On the other hand, is the Junker Queen. So, come on. But we'll see. Let's get back to those events, and specifically the Halloween event. Last year we got something new called Junkenstein's Lab. It was a mode where you could pick all kinds of talents and abilities and upgrades throughout the match. The thing is, well, we kind of have that in the core game now with perks. On top of that, we got Stadium, which is 10 times as big as Junkenstein's Lab was. So, yeah, I mean, they could be test running some new perks that they have in mind in a mode like that, but we wouldn't have as much fun as we did last year. So I'm thinking that they cooked up something completely new. Some of you might remember this, but for the first ever Halloween in Overwatch 2, which wasn't that long ago, they did Junkenstein's Bride, a scenario, PvE, and it was hilariously funny. It actually was a portrait with a dog that would bark if you waved at it. And then there were the voice lines for the Junker Queen. It was so much fun. I've always hoped that they would do something like that again. The thing is, that's PvE. And I do get the sense that Team 4 is trying to stay as far as possible from anything PvE. Almost like using a stick, poking at it. Like, no, you stay over there, you cheeky bugger. Understandable. I mean, they might just bring back that old scenario for us to replay. And of course, there's the old school wave-based game mode that we had in Overwatch 1. Well, they might add some new challenges. But if they should add something new, I do think it's going to be PvP again. Now, I do have to say, the chances of them doing anything new for this Halloween event are definitely bigger than with any other event. Because Team 4 seems to like Halloween just as much as I do. Yeah, they always put in a little bit of extra effort when it comes to Halloween. They like the spooky season. Now, we won't have to wait too long to find out because I think that event is going to kick off immediately with the start of the season, so in less than 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to other events, there's definitely going to be the usual stuff like the Drives event, the Junkrat Loot Hunt, and we're also going to get a new collab event, maybe even 2, which usually is only a shop thing, but it's Blizzard, you never know. Or they come up with something completely new and surprising on top of the collabs. Could be. However, the event that most people are going to be looking forward to the most is the test event for the new hero, the female gladiator that uses a two-handed broadsword to fight. They have been teasing that hero for the last 10 months. It started out with a doodle somewhere in the background during the Spotlight event, and then there were the hints that they left on the Arena Victoria map with the poster and the weapon actually being shown off in one of the galleries. And last week they released this comic about Ramatra Zenyatta. They actually showed off her silhouette again in one of the frames. Cheeky buggers. Turns out she's going to be a bit of a problem, according to Ramatra at least. We'll see. I'm hoping for some more teasers about this hero in the weeks before the test event, like they did with Juno or Hazard. Those teasers are always a ton of fun and nice content to make a video about. Is it? But I do feel like she is going to have a huge impact on the story moving forward. The fact that she's mentioned in that comic is actually pretty big. I'm still working on a video about all that. That all happened during my holiday and I was slightly pissed off. But yeah, there's a video coming about all of that soon. In any case, somewhere in the second half of the season, my guess would be near the end of November, we're going to get to test that hero in-game all weekend. And I can't wait. It's going to be a melee hero. Come on. But on the other hand, that's about all we're going to get when it comes to new heroes in Season 19, at least in the core game modes. Because as always, it's an uneven season, so no hero. Instead, we usually get a new map. Thing is, we know that 2 maps are coming, Tokyo and the Atlantic Arcology. They were announced during the Spotlight event to be coming after Season 19. See, the word after kind of all screws it up, doesn't it? So what can we expect in Season 19? Well, there's actually a few options. The most likely option is actually no map at all. I know, that doesn't sound like fun, but it wouldn't be the first time, especially for the October season. That has happened before. We did get 2 new maps for Stadium in the last season, so yeah. They might opt to add a big feature instead. Could be. On the other hand, they could also be doing some reworks of old maps. They have been talking about reworking old maps for a while now. That was going to be a big thing in 2025. And up till now, they already did some reworks, some really good ones. But more might be coming in Season 19. The third option, and very unlikely one, is that they surprise drop a map on us. Like something we did not think about at all. Hadn't said anything, bam, here you go. Yeah, that's not happening. I do hope, however, that they're going to give one of the other maps a Halloween makeover for this season. I love when they do stuff like that, with the Christmas and the Halloween. Yeah, they're one of those. Now, I do expect that most of the changes during Season 19 are going to happen in Stadium. First off, they are going to add some new heroes to Stadium, as they do every single season. I made a video a few weeks ago on which heroes that could be, so go have a look on my channel to find out more. Let me just say that I think we're going to see turrets and a big hook. Go have a look. Beyond that, the Trials feature that they also kind of talked about at the Spotlight event might finally be coming this season. It's basically a system where you have to do a mission or a challenge to get a reward, which reward is unclear, but I'm thinking it's going to be cash. They also might introduce those consumable items that they talked about, and whatever they cooked up. They have been working on Stadium behind the scenes so hard and just releasing stuff as they see fit, so we'll see. They might also be tuning some of the features that they released in previous seasons, like the draft mode that they released in Season 18. Personally, I'm still not a big fan. Now, I don't think they're about to scrap it or just use it on the high levels, but they might have been working on some ways to fine-tune it, to improve it. And then there are, of course, balancing changes. Just earlier this week, they did a small balancing change for Stadium, so I'm not expecting anything too big when Season 19 starts. But when it comes to the core game modes and the core abilities, the perks, I do think we can expect a few shifts, especially after that big reshuffle they did for perks at the start of Season 18. I think Season 19 is going to be the moment where they start kind of fine-tuning all of that, maybe replace some stuff. And as always, there's going to be the Maximilian's Vault, system changes, UI improvements. There's going to be drops on Twitch, and the ever-looming surprise. I sure do love it when they drop a surprise feature. What are you looking forward to the most in Season 19? What do you want to see? Let me know in the comments and come tell me during my streams over on twitch.tv/TeamSysTV. See you there. For now, however, That was it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out. I also want to thank my patrons and YouTube members. You too can become a member over on patreon.com/theomnicpost and right here on YouTube to unlock exclusive rewards. If you have a few minutes left, maybe check out one of my other videos. But above all, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye bye.